Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. Do you like your stories told through pictures? Then you can also follow us at Real Nerds on Instagram. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Camera, action!
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd can...
talk film! I'm sorry.
Take it outside.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot, and a real nerd can follow the plot, and a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action! Real nerds.
Welcome, all you crazy podcast listeners, to another exciting episode of Real Nerds Podcast. I am joined by Brad.
Hey, what's up?
But this is also a very special episode brought to you by your friends at PBS. No, we actually have a guest, Zach. Hello.
Hey.
And it's not the Zach you think it is. Zach, tell us what you do and why you're here.
So I make podcasts about Alfred Hitchcock. That was my Zach Eastman impression.
Spot on.
I'm Zach Bynes. I'm the host of the Talkin' Trauma podcast, and I've joined you fellas a few other times on the show, and I'm glad you asked me back to talk some Toxic.
Yeah, glad to have you back.
Yeah, no, I was excited because I knew we were going to do this film, and then Brad last week says, "Hey, we should get Zach on." I said, "Totally," because a little history. Do you remember the first time you met us?
It was at Denver Comic Con, right?
It was,
and so me and my buddy Richard Taylor, we snuck in to the convention, pretending. Well, we were promoting our movie and just being obnoxious so we could sneak right past the door guys, and we saw you guys were doing a podcast. We're like, "Hey, put us on your show,"
and we said yes. And it was funny because I've learned too at the cons, if you just walk in like you know what you're doing, they will not stop you. Because we also have...
I'm sure Fan Expo's going to appreciate us putting that message out there.
Fan Expo's a little tighter, I will say that. But there is something to when you walk like you know what you're doing, like you're walking with a purpose. No one's going to tell me what to do. And so, yeah. So, no, it's awesome that you're back. That was 13 years ago. 13 years ago.
That's a very long time ago.
It is. And then, I also have to commend you when I went to Colorado Festival of Horror last year. You were great as a moderator.
Oh, thank you.
For Tiffany Shepis. So that was awesome and lots of fun. Your knowledge really helped carry that panel, and I think she appreciated it too. So,
and that was tough because I've always had a crush on Tiffany Shepis. So to sit on stage going like kind of toe to toe with her and not stammering my words the entire time was a feat.
Yeah, I feel you because I used to do panels all the time before Fan Expo, because Fan Expo now has professional moderators, and there's times when you it's kind of surreal that you're up there, and I mean I couldn't tell you did it, and you knew you had great knowledge, and I could tell she really appreciated your questions because you knew what you were talking about. So how many episodes of Talkin' Trauma have you done?
I know we're on our third season right now. I want to say we're somewhere in the ballpark of 30. It's nice because we just we do them when we want to do them. That way we just don't put something like kind of mediocre out or whatever. So right now we're in the midst of just researching some major topics, but our last episode is actually an interview with Macon Blair about the new Toxic Avenger.
Very cool. And for those listening too, you kind of have an in with Trauma. Do you want to expel on that and let us know, where did your love for Trauma start and how did you kind of get associated with them?
So I remember very vividly how I got introduced to Trauma. growing up in Colorado, you're gonna love South Park when you're in middle school and high school.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's just a given. And this was like right at the height of, you know, when South Park came out. And one of my buddies knew that I liked basketball, I liked South Park, and Orgasmo. And he's like, hey, do you want to see their first movie, Cannibal the Musical? He rented a copy, and he's like, I'll bootleg it for you. I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. He's like, do you want me to put these movie previews on before? I think you might actually dig what this Trauma company does. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And so I loved Cannibal the Musical, but those trailers stuck with me more than anything. So I went and sought all that stuff out. And it was hard to find. You'd scour Suncoast and maybe they would have one tape. And
sorry to interrupt you, but you brought up Suncoast. I used to love Suncoast. Go to Villa Italia all the time and get my video cassettes there.
You'd get your Orange Julius, and then
yes,
and that whole mall smelled like Orange Julius.
It really did. My only claim to fame at Villa Italia is I won a Mortal Kombat 2 tournament at the arcade that was across from the Suncoast. So yeah, that's my claim to fame.
I bought a lot of Pogs at the store next
yes.
to Suncoast.
Pogs. I can't believe they used to have whole stores dedicated to the game of Pogs.
We were in a better time back then.
We really were. What was your go-to smasher?
So I actually had what it kind of looked like a Man of War album cover. It was just like some ripped executioner dude
nice.
With like a bloody axe, and it was brass and
nice. Mine was Popeye, and it was brass. Like the Sailor Man, not the chicken. But now I think of it, Popeye Chicken Slammer.
If you eat them too fast, you'll be slamming
the toilet. Anyways, back to your story.
I mean, it's all relative. So speaking of Popeye's chicken, there was a call on the Troma website to work on their movie, Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead. So me and my buddy Richard, we've made movies together forever. We took the call, we went out there, and they remembered us because we did a short little music video where we had the Toxic Avenger running around outside Columbine High School while Richard played his accordion of the Toxic Avenger theme song. And they remembered us from that, and that we did like a head crushing. So they immediately were like, you guys are in charge of making the blood for Lloyd Kaufman's newest movie, which was intimidating, but also the coolest job you can have on a Troma movie.
Hell yeah.
So after that, we just became close with Lloyd. We volunteered at Troma Dance back when that was in Park City. And then anytime Troma was coming to Colorado, and we would often set these things up so they could show movies. We would throw benefit concerts for them out here. And we would just try to bring as much Troma presence into Colorado as we could. And then the pandemic happened, and I needed something to do, and I just had all this knowledge of Troma movies. I was like, it'd be fun just to have my friends watch some Troma movies, and we'll talk about them. And then I was like, well, actually, I want to reach out to the filmmakers who made these, because there's not a lot known about some of these things. So I would start reaching out to different Troma filmmakers and people who've worked on different Troma movies, because working on a Troma film is very different than working on any other type of movie. I liken it to if you go to war, if it's Vietnam or World War II, like they're different, but you have very similar experiences that you can really only relate to somebody else who's been in the trenches. So I found that very true as far as Troma movies go, and we can share the blood and low budget horror stories together.
Very cool. I remember my first Troma film was Redneck Zombies. It was the first one I saw at Suncoast and I bought.
Nice.
And it's, there is a certain charm to them because they're made, like guerrilla style. It's everybody's jumping in there and helping, and there's an energy to the films that I think is really hard to replicate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. Brad, what was the first Troma film you remember seeing?
I think it's Cannibal the Musical for me.
Really?
Yeah. Like my friend Adam, in high school, he got the DVD, and we just hung out at his place and watched that a bunch of times, and that and Orgasmo.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to talk Brad into for our booth next year at Fan Expo to be basketball. I really want it to be, but we don't know if it's too niche for people to get.
just don't get an angry email from Dean Bahar if you said that.
Is he known for that?
I had to block him on Facebook.
Oh wow! All right,
That's all right though. He lives up to the title in that movie.
what a bitch!
Part of the booth should be a drawer rolls out with like a little dummy in it that you can just call a bitch.
Hell yeah!
This is your bed.
I love it.
Wake up, bitch! We're going to the zoo.
So again, thanks for being on. Thanks for sharing your story. I don't know the last time you listened to us, if you even listened to us, but every week we see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week, like we mentioned, we saw The Toxic Avenger 2023. Stay tuned. We'll recommend the film or not, play the trailer, and then we'll spoil it, and then we'll lean on you for your expertise on how you feel about it. Then we also talk about the nerd news of the week and stuff we've been watching. Feel free to participate. Tell us we're stupid. You're our guest, so you can be whatever you want to be.
I'm gonna be a millionaire. Talking about trauma films.
Well, a millionaire in your heart.
Yes.
Yes, that's all we need.
My friends are worth more than all the money in the world.
Brad, this week we saw The Toxic Avenger. Do you recommend The Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, it's all right. I feel like if you're going to remake The Toxic Avenger, it needs to feel like a bigger budget than the one that already exists. And they're pretty close to me. This one I think is a lot more emotional than the old one, whereas I think the other one's is emotional but more silly. So yeah, it's not bad. It's just like I feel like in the Marvel age, if you're going to do a remake, you should go like a little bigger.
Cool. And then, Zach, I'll hit you up last because you're our trauma expert. I actually had a ton of fun in this movie. I liked the silliness of it. And when I was watching it, I kept on thinking I wanted to be a set designer so bad in this because of all the funny jokes that were just placed all over in the background. So, yeah, I think you should go see it and have a lot of fun. Zach, how do you feel about The Toxic Avenger?
I also feel like people should go out and see it. It's not every day that you get to see a trauma team production in front of a mainstream audience.
Perfect. Here's a trailer for The Toxic Avenger.
Armed political extremists have taken hostages downtown. Somebody do something!
Wait! Stop! We'll get to all of that. Just relax, okay? We'd lost Shelly a year ago. These days, it's just me and the kid.
Looks great.
I'll just scrape off the black part. That part's pretty good.
No, give him back.
I don't want to hurt him.
Why didn't you do anything?
Sometimes it's better to do nothing. It's going good.
You're saying that this corporation would knowingly poison its own customers just to boost their own profit margins?
Summon the nuts.
Okay, summoning the nuts.
I didn't want any of this. I'm a monster.
You're not a monster. Show him your good heart.
Hey, buddy, I'm your dad. What the? I wasn't even involved. But sometimes, you gotta do something. Who the fuck are you? Just some dude with a mom!
I'm screaming the fear, holding hands at the
How does it feel to be a hero?
a simple melody.
You realize what's at stake here?
Everything!
Find him, bring him here. There you are.
Only the good things in life, that's all that matters.
That was just self-defense. You haven't killed anyone else, have you?
See, when you say, self-defense,
He's an ugly son of a bitch, though.
That's all that matters to me.
The Toxic Avenger.
That's what the kids are calling him. I think it's swell.
Peter Dinklage stars as Winston, who is trying to form a relationship with his stepson after his wife has died of, you learned, from cancer, obviously because of what BTH is pumping into the air and the water. And he's just trying to get by. And from his years of working at BTH, he has developed some sort of brain cancer. A long-running joke in the film is that when they try to explain the science and the wherewithal, it gets really loud and a jackhammer goes, so they just gloss over the actual science behind it, which is funny. And so when that happens, he decides that he is going to rob the chemical plant. And when he does that, he also runs into a woman who is a whistleblower for them. And he gets dumped into toxic waste, actually gets shot in the head, and he comes back as Toxie, and he's rearing to go. Right off the bat, I have to say, with the film, you're either on board with it or you're not. What I really appreciated with it is they did embrace kind of the zaniness. The first real joke that I could not stop laughing at is at the beginning, the khaki gang shows up and they have the cat, and she says, I want my cat. And he just throws it out the window. Just ran. And then, Peter Dinklage's Winston saves it, and it kind of sets up his arc. So yeah, it's kind of cool. As I watched it though too, I said, man, this is really polished though. Like, it looks really nice. Was that cool with you, or would you prefer them to be a little more gritty?
So I actually thought it was pretty neat to see. It's not Tromaville, but St. Roma's Village looking as clean as it is, because something you would want from a big budget movie is stuff to be, just bigger and look nicer. Mm-hmm. So, it was shot very well. Mm-hmm. The lighting looked great. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool that it, you could still get some of the same feeling of low budget cheesiness, but also looking polished at the same time. You could look high budget and cheap right at the same time. I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, and I think when you have actors like Peter Dinklage and Kevin Bacon in it, it adds a lot of weight to the film. And I also like that Kevin Bacon wasn't totally over the top. He was kind of this, he's a bad guy, but I think for these worlds to work as well as they do, you have to embrace the silliness. But just like Naked Gun movies that we saw a couple weeks ago, you have to treat it as serious as an actor in it, because people can see through, when you don't believe what you're doing.
I think that, a lot of kind of modern humor that I don't think works all the time is when you have all the actors looking at the camera and winking, and that's not really the case in Toxie. And that's also, why Naked Gun works, is because nobody is yeah. There are a few moments of that in Toxie that didn't work for me, but most of the time it's all played pretty straight, that's when the humor shines the most.
I agree. And it's the first, he doesn't really kill the guy, but when he shows up and just rips that dude's arm off, one of my favorite long-running jokes in the film was they keep on putting his arm on wrong, and he's always lying with some IV on the couch, and it's just really funny little through-line jokes that I really appreciated. And I feel that the creators of the film did really respect where it came from. They didn't just try to make it gritty and not funny and silly.
Maybe they learned the lesson from the RoboCop remake, where it's hey, let's have RoboCop, but take everything that made RoboCop great out of it and just have the RoboCop itself.
Yeah. You're right. You think, because the RoboCop remake is definitely really slick, but it seems hollow. This film, I felt, had a lot of character to it. And yeah, the story, you do feel bad for Winston and his son, because, they both probably didn't want to be in this situation. You marry someone and you expect them to live, but she dies from cancer. And then her son, who's already lost his dad and now loses his mom, is forced to live with a stepdad who's trying his best to get by. I thought it was really cool dynamic that they had, instead of just, he's at odds with his stepdad because he's a stepdad. He was at odds because of all the stuff, of the burden that he had, which was kind of nice to see.
And just the relationship of, like, maybe they haven't known each other for that long, so just, like, kind of awkward. Even, like, when you first meet both of them, like, he's, like, trying to make him breakfast, and it feels like, just one of their first, like, kind of alone together interactions is just, uncomfortable, and you feel it for both of them.
Yeah, it's... I mentioned the set designer because when Toxie goes to the fast food place, I could not stop laughing. If whether it was the cock gobbler or was it they had so many signs in the back that were just tons of sexual innuendos that I just adored. And those are little flourishes in films that I think just help you suck you into the world. Because you don't have a lot of time in a hour and 45-minute film to say, hey, this is the world you're in. And hats off to the filmmakers to say, we need to design this world and let you know that it's kind of a hyper reality, and you have to accept what we're selling, And
I don't know if Toxie would work if it was just like an everyday, like, this is like the actual world we live in. It's like people in Tromaville have paper thin skin that can get torn to shreds just by bumping into them. And yeah, like in the set decoration in the Miss Meat fast food place, definitely is like kind of hearkening back to Poultrygeist. Like, we had all sorts of crazy set decorations and jokes. Like, on the menu board in Poultrygeist, one of them was like, Paris Hilton's a dirty slut, and like just stuff like that, just hidden in there just for whoever's really paying attention.
Hell yeah. Brad, you're kind of quiet. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I agree with the like, my favorite parts of the humor were the background gags, or when they would just like shout things off screen.
The ADR
was on point.
Yeah.
The flipping guy, every time he was on scene, I could not stop. Like, I'm going to flip over here.
and then his death is wonderful. Where he just flips and explodes.
Yeah. Why did he explode? What did he hit?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And it's funny because it kind of reminded me of the ninjas in Jean-Claude Van Damme's damn van that are just like flipping for no reason.
That's the second time I heard that this month. When I saw Ninja Turtles back in the theater, the person I was with was like, I see where you got the ninjas gag for the... I was like, yes, I guess I did.
You were inspired by the Ninja Turtles.
What?
Stop the presses.
When my audience, like I said, there was like 8 or 10 people in there, but they went crazy at that rock concert, because when the girls are flashing and then the dude's like spinning his cock around, and the reveal of, I don't know what's his name, Peckerhead chicken guy, and it's some baby.
Oh God, yes.
Chad Haven.
Chad Haven. Everyone's trying not to throw up. Oh man, it's brilliant.
And you have Toxie singing a Motorhead song.
Yes. Or too, when his son says, "You didn't kill anybody, did you?" No. Literally rip some dude's ass out from his asshole and Miss Meat.
I also love with the doctor. He has some of the funniest lines, like at the towards the end of the movie, when he's just sitting in the hospital, but you don't see him at all, and then he just like interjects and like freaks everybody out. And he's like, "Oh, I've been sitting here the whole time." It's pretty damn funny.
And he has a great joke. His name tag just says Doctor. That's his name tag. It says Doctor. It's awesome. So that's the kind of stuff, I like to go to movies and be entertained. I've always said this, this is our 693rd episode, something like that. I'm not a critic. I don't look at them hypercritically, but are you entertaining me? And I felt in this movie I was being constantly entertained. And I know that this movie landed because my wife loved it. My wife, who hates this kind of movie, exactly. she does not like.
I mean, it's not that far removed from like the Naked Gun or something.
Exactly. She does not like spoofs. She does not like silly humor. But this movie, she was laughing at, the ADR stuff where it's, oh my God, that dude's ass is bleeding or whatever they were saying. And my wife was digging it. And so it does my heart good because, I would never go out of my way to show her the original Toxic Avenger. I mean, obviously I own it and I like it, but she's not that kind of person, with heads rolling down the screen or whatever. But it was really cool to see her embrace this kind of off-the-wall humor. And why do you think, do you think this is more accessible to people that are adverse to trauma films?
So I did read a review of the movie, and I'll just put this out here for whoever to take it. It can also be it's a trauma movie for people who would not be caught dead watching a trauma movie.
Yeah, because it was pretty insane, but it doesn't go the next step.
Whereas the original Toxic Avenger is far more shocking and offensive, I think, which to me is part of the charm and why I grew up loving the Toxic Avenger. I think this is a good gateway into like if this maxed you out, then you're not gonna like the other Toxic Avenger films. But if you want a little bit more, craziness and everything, then maybe check out the originals, which I think is kind of a good way to look at it.
So do you think Peter Dinklage was a good Toxie as well, comparatively?
I don't think there's really a comparison because they're two different characters. I think if Peter Dinklage was playing Melvin Ferd, or aka Melvin Junko in parts 2 through 4, then there'd be a comparison. But it's a completely different character altogether, and a completely different Toxie.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's such a big fan of trauma films, that has to be kind of cool for them to do that instead of, basically rehashing what's come before and kind of let it breathe on its own.
I think I'd probably be, and I'm sure I am, like a really hard person to get on board with a Toxic Avenger remake, just because like the original is such sacred grounds for me. Like it's such an informative movie, whereas like I made my wife watch it on one of our first dates, just because if she couldn't handle the Toxic Avenger, then it just wasn't going to work out.
So it's like your Star Wars. You show your wife or significant other your favorite film, and they have to like it. It is really stressful. I remember showing my wife Army of Darkness, which is my favorite film, and it's silly and out of control, and she liked it, and then I said, "Okay, I can hang out with you," because you need that, and it sounds insignificant, but it is a lot of who you are. You know what I mean? So if you can't get on board with what you like, then how is it going to work?
I do have a side note with Army of Darkness. So recently, I just showed that to my 9-year-old son.
Nice,
and we made it about halfway through, and he just looks at me. He's like, Is there much more? I'm getting kind of bored."
Oh.
And I was like, and then he's like, I just shut it off. He's like, "Well, we could keep watching if you want." I'm like, "No, go.
My heart's already too broken."
It's like, you could go play Fortnite or whatever. Like,
yeah, I will say my kid did like that movie. He asked to watch it every once in a while. So.
I don't understand how he got bored, but it's not Fortnite.
What I always say, movies are interpretive art, and
he interpreted it wrong.
He sure did.
Your kid's on track to become an accountant.
Yeah, but also I remember my kid. So I showed him, Army of Darkness. Really, probably too young, but I also don't care. And then he started getting into this Alvin and the Chipmunks phase. So I've watched. I didn't know there was 4 of them. And when people say, stuff that I watch, whether it's Full Moon or Trauma or whatever, that they're shitty movies, I go, let me show you an actual shit movie. Because when I was growing up, I loved the Alvin and the Chipmunks cartoon. And I used to watch it every morning. And then I remember watching and then Jason Lee is in the live action. I go, you know what? My kid wants to watch this. I'll get on board with it. And about 40 minutes in, I go, holy shit, this is still on for another 40 minutes. And it's bad. And I didn't know they would have normal actors like Justin Long was in it, and they just made his voice squeaky. So what's the point of having an actor like Justin Long if you're just going to make him sound squeaky? What do I know? Nothing.
That's why I always like, are people like, oh, is this good? I'm like, my taste in movies are pretty questionable to begin with.
Yeah.
So like do with that as you will.
It just helps it get greenlit, because when you're like pitching it, like, oh, Justin Long's attached to the project, we can throw another $2 million at this.
That you're right. And so what do you know what the budget on this remake is by any chance?
It was in the millions. I think like 20 million, something like that.
Because Toxie, his design was really cool. I like the pulsating purple stuff on him, and it looked really cool.
His like just big old Bluto arms.
Yeah,
and it's cool. The person in the costume, she was a Teletubby.
Really?
Yeah, she played the little one, Poe.
Huh.
So,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I totally believed it was still Dinklage in that suit. So
yeah, I guess they worked together. Like he would act it out, and she would copy his performances and stuff.
So did they CGI the face or something?
No, it's all practical.
Wow, that's awesome.
So and which is it's cool because that's also in the tradition of every other Toxic Avenger movie, where the guy in the costume and the voice are different people. So
did not know that. See, I learned something new, and that's awesome. Yeah, I just appreciate a movie like this gets made. I love the Terrifier series because I like that movie like that's made. And I mean, they're fun movies, but they're not for everybody.
Yeah.
But that someone and Legendary like co-produced it, it's kind of cool seeing. I mean, that's a big movie company, and they said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna put up money for this. Which I know people, sometimes poo-poo remakes, but sometimes I think it's needed to remind people that the movies that came before and why they're so special.
Well, and not every remake is bad either. Like The Thing that everybody loves is a remake.
Yeah,
but The Thing remake is not great.
It's not as good. I mean, it's not horrible, but then where they made the mistake is CGI creatures. Go back to the practical stuff. That's what people want to see. In this Toxie movie, I didn't mind that some of the gore, like the dude's brain falling out, was CGI. That's cool. I'm cool with it because the action of him getting there and ripping it was not. But if you're going to embellish it, I can live with it. It's just the over reliance on the CGI that I think takes away from some of the charm of films, and that there seems to be a more of returning to that lately, which is really cool to see.
I think it's just also the generation of filmmakers where the people who are making the movies now, they're like, well, I grew up with practical effects, and I'm not as big of a fan of CGI, so I want to go back to those days. So it all kind of goes in cycles.
It's really interesting that you say, because you're right. I love Spider-Man, and the guy who directed Shang-Chi is doing Spider-Man. And he says, yeah, we're doing practical web slinging, which people were, whoa, I don't know if that'll work, but they're releasing videos almost weekly about, and it's, Peter, and he's swinging and ripping things off of tanks. There's something to be said about when you're on scene and you're ripping things. And, it's the prequel syndrome from Star Wars hopefully is starting to go away where, hey, there's nothing but green and blue. And because it does help in film.
Like, there's this story, and I don't know if it's true, but I want to believe it's true. George Lucas visited Martin Scorsese on the set of Gangs of New York, and just looking at all the sets, and he told him, he's like, you could have all done this on green screen, and then Martin Scorsese was like, I guess that's just the difference between you and me.
Womp womp. Good for Scorsese.
And I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to choose to believe,
to believe it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about with Toxic Avenger that we haven't covered?
Yeah, so I think some other cool stuff about this Toxie remake that's coming out is they had a lot of publicity things, like on St. Paddy's Day, Toxie turned the Chicago River green. But the coolest thing they're doing is for every $1 million this movie is making, they're there's a company that will donate $1 million to pay off people's medical debt.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Why don't
very
they just do it anyway?
well, I don't disagree with that, but are like why let's get DC or Marvel in on that action.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Like if you're gonna have the little guy be the superhero, then why can't Superman also eliminate some medical debt? So I thought that was really cool, and there's all sorts of neat little things that are happening, like just merch wise. Like I never thought I would see like the movie theaters carrying Toxic Avenger popcorn buckets, or it's getting a novelization.
Really?
I just pre-ordered my novelization today. It's getting
Hell
a
yeah.
graphic novel, action figures, Halloween masks. Like
They got to bring back the bubblegum trading cards for this.
100% agree. That would be awesome. And get the gum to slice your tongue.
Yeah, what was that gum made out of?
Despair.
Highly compressed fiberglass sheets.
Yeah, because when you bite it, it doesn't become chewing gum. It literally dissolves and cuts the roof of your mouth.
And another cool thing with this movie is, let's not forget, Troma's like a 50-year movie studio. Like this is their 50th year or 51st, and Toxie's 41 this year, and so it's like now like kind of getting its comeuppance. It had a panel in Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. Like that's huge. Troma's been at Comic-Con forever, and they've always had panels, but they've never played the big room.
Well, it helped that Marvel wasn't there.
Well, I it's still, it just goes to show, and it was packed. And I was nervous for that panel, thinking people would just go in asking Peter Dinklage Game of Thrones questions, and the audience, hooting and hollering for the trailer. And Lloyd was there. He passed the mop to Macon Blair, and people actually came up and asked Lloyd Troma questions in Hall H. Like,
that's awesome.
Like just something you wouldn't expect to see. And then immediately after that panel was the South Park panel, and he got to catch up with Trey and Matt backstage. And also Hall H, just like the biggest things in entertainment right now are the same stuff that I liked when I was in middle school. Is pretty rad.
That is cool. I agree. There's something magical about something you love and people embracing it, and that you can go to a Hall H. And I mean, that's pretty shocking to me, because Toxic Avenger is so niche. And I mean, if you're a fan of movies, obviously everybody in this room knows what it is, but outside of certain people, but I guess he's pretty universally known. I mean, I can always picture the poster in my head.
That poster is so iconic. I mean, even Joe Dirt did a parody of the movie poster. But like my brother-in-law, he came up to me. He was like, "I just saw the trailer for that Toxic Avenger." Like, he's like, "That's that thing you're always talking about, right? It's a pretty big deal, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a very big deal." And it's just kind of like people who would not go out of their way to seek this out, it's finding them anyways, is neat. And then my hope is that people will see this and it'll bring them into the Troma sphere and watch the original Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High, and and then maybe even find my movie just because it's all related. And now I'm 2 steps away from Kevin Bacon, so
nice.
So that's always fun too.
That is awesome. When I interviewed Adrian King at Festival of Horror last year, so I'm 1 step away from Kevin Bacon.
Nice.
So that's a claim to fame. I don't need 6. I need 1. That's awesome. No, I love it. I love seeing stuff like that. I love rooting for the underdog, and they made a fun movie. That's, I think, what I want people to take away too. Yeah, the movie's fun, and you should really see it and embrace it. I mean, I don't know where else you're going to see a big baby head that was, covered by a chicken head, and a dude flipping and explodes for no reason. People need that in their life. I really do think that.
More exploding people.
Yes.
On the big screen.
I'm down. I want to see people die. There's even that funny line where he takes that injured woman and he goes, "Are you even a doctor?" He said he was, and the crazy guy in the forest. Yeah, so good stuff.
And another neat thing that, my show, Talkin' Trauma, is doing is on our YouTube channel, Talkin' Trauma, Brad will put a link to it in the description because I just said it, unless he edits that part out. We're uncovering all sorts of just fun old Toxic Avenger media, like news appearances back in the 80s.
Sweet.
And just different stuff like that. We have a TV version of the Toxic Avenger, like streaming like on a loop. On there, just like a weird TV edit, and old Toxic Crusader toy commercials and just stuff like that. Just celebrating the history of the Toxic Avenger, like remembering our roots of what got us this far.
Yeah, toxic waste was a really big deal in the 80s, and it bore fruits with the Toxic Avenger. It also killed Jason Voorhees, so you never know.
Well, and it's funny too, right? Like we had all these cartoons about toxic waste, and it's like Captain Planet, Toxic Crusaders, even the Turtles, and
mutations,
and they're like, and it's like, okay, we get the message, and now it's like, you damn millennials, like caring about the environment, and it's like,
where'd you get this from?
It's like,
who indoctrinated you?
We learned it from you.
I know. I kept on waiting for the review of the Toxic Avenger as woke, but I didn't see it.
It's that would be one of those. It's like, well, tell me you've never watched any other Toxie.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, racist jokes aside from the first couple movies, but
but harmless.
The new Toxic Avenger is a political movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because the movie was mostly done in 23. I actually saw a rough cut of it back then, but after the assassination of the healthcare dude, I feel like it plays better now. like everybody's like down to watch a healthcare CEO get in a fight with the Toxic Avenger.
That'd be sweet. So do you hope that they continue this story with Winston as a Toxic Avenger?
So one thing I read was that Cineverse also is making an Air Bud movie. They're bringing Air Bud back to the big screen.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like I would be the perfect person to write and direct the Toxie Air Bud Cineverse film, where Air Bud would be Toxie's girlfriend seeing Eye Dog, and then would fetch the mop. It'd be Toxic Avenger 2 Air Blood.
Yes. Sold. I'd see it. I would see it. Thanks for helping us out with this review. Corinne sent us something that I haven't listened to, so we're all going to be in for a treat that Corinne sent us.
Hey nerds, Corinne here for another installment of Showtime where I tell you all about something cool I've been watching lately. This week I was back in the theaters for the special screening of K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, honestly, first off, I'm so glad that Netflix, Sony, whoever decided to put this in theaters, even if it was just for the weekend. I know that they supposedly released it, they did the bare minimum back when they first earlier this summer when they first launched the movie. They put it in theaters in New York and Los Angeles, or whatever the bare minimum is to qualify for the Oscars. But I'm so glad they put it wider release this weekend, even though it wasn't showing at every theater, but it was at my theater, so I appreciated that. Although Brad and Ryan know which theater I go to, and honestly, I feel like not only the quality of the experience has gone downhill in terms of just, the theaters are generally clean and stuff, and I'm not hating on the staff or anything. I think they all do a great job. But I do think that the experience is diminished based on they don't have enough people working. So there's long lines for concessions, and they don't even have a ticket stand anymore. You either go buy it at the concession stand or you get it at one of the little ticket machines. But, this weekend, it was a pretty busy one. There were lots of people waiting in line for snacks or whatever, tickets. And it's if you have more than 2 stalls or 2 registers or whatever open, that would be a good way to help it go faster. And especially since, again, they don't sell tickets separately anymore. It's you have to go to the concession stand to get them. or the ticket machines, which is what I do. And then I also noticed there was problems with our projector. Like, it was almost kind of bouncing around. Like, it wasn't the whole time, but it was like every now and again you can notice that it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just, something about the projection seemed off. Like it was vibrating slightly. It was barely noticeable, but it was noticeable, at least to me. Like, maybe the other people in the theater with me didn't notice it, but I did. And I'm like, this wouldn't be the first time I've had problems with the projection at a screening I went to there. So, you know, freaking Regal needs to get their shit together. I think the commercials and all the stuff beforehand was slightly shorter than usual. It wasn't the normal 30 minutes. I think it was like 20 or 25. I didn't actually count this time. I did show up late though, but, or quote, late, you know, I showed up like 10 minutes after the advertised showtime, which was still 10 or 15 minutes early. But anyway, as for my, just the movie itself, I mean, I've said before that I really enjoyed it. It was even better on the big screen. Like, it was great to see it on the big screen where it's like you could see like a lot of the background details, and, you know, it gave you a greater appreciation for the movie. And also because I think I've only watched it once where I was just like, I was eyes on the screen the whole time, didn't look at my phone or anything. And then other times I've had it on in the background, but I was like doing other stuff, or, you know, I was just watching like clips of it. So this was like the first time. So yeah, since I first watched it, this was the first time since, yeah, but basically, like, this was my first, like, real theater experience where it's like, you sit down and you lock in, you know, there's no distractions, there's no pausing it, there's no whatever, like, you just watch it the whole way through, start to finish, beginning to end, all that. So, yeah, it was a good experience. Like I said, I felt like there were even, like, a few small moments that I was like, I don't remember that, or, a few, like, details that I'm like, oh, I caught that, or didn't catch that before. And, you know, again, greater appreciation for the movie overall. It was so great to see it on the big screen. As for my general theater experience, other than the technical stuff I was talking about, but my audience, I'd heard that other showings elsewhere in the United States were sold out. And I was like, I mean, I was expecting mine to be not sold out, but like close to it, you know, maybe like 70-80% full. There were 3 showings, or no, actually, I couldn't go to any of the like premiere screenings or the premium screenings, because I was like, I don't want to have to pay extra. I'll just go to the standard showing, that's fine. So there were like 4, and it was like between 2 of them based on my schedule. I was like, I'll either go to like the 1:30 or I'll go to the 6:50. And the 6:50 had fewer people. And I was like, I want to see this. I want to see this with like a crowd, you know? So I went to the 1:30 hoping like there's going to be a lot of people. We'll all have a good time. It'll be like this party atmosphere. And not to say it wasn't, but it wasn't as big as I was expecting. The theater was it was in one of the larger auditoriums, but even then it was still like maybe 25% full. Yeah. It was a lot of families, a lot of, you know, parents with children, I would say under 10. A lot of them seem to be in kind of that 4 to 8-year-old range. I was expecting more like preteens, but, you know, obviously I just wanted to see the movie with people who were excited to see it as well. And apparently that ended up being a lot of kids. There was one kid behind me, and I overheard the mom tell the kid, like, okay, like, somebody's sitting in front of you, don't kick their chair. And then the kids, like, kept kicking, you know, every now and again the kid would kick my chair, and I don't think there was, like, malice behind it. I think they just forgot. I didn't get that mad or anything. I didn't say anything, but it just was like, oh, that was kind of funny. It's like, your kid didn't listen to you. You gotta get your shit together. But now I know. I mean, I've got nieces that age, so I'm like, yeah, this is all par for the course. But it was a sing-along showing, and I figured more people would be singing along to it. And I overheard like some people singing, but I figured it would be louder. There would be more people singing. I don't know. Like I expected like a different vibe, and I kind of didn't get that. I didn't get it to the level I was expecting. You know, I saw a lot of clips online where people were, you know, they were cheering and they were singing along really loud like it was a concert. And I was like, that's kind of the vibe I wanted, even though, yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be exactly the same because there are fewer people at my screening, but yeah. I mean, it was almost just kind of like, it had a similar vibe of when I went to see Moana 2 in November, where it was just like, it was a lot of parents with their kids, younger kids, and, you know, there were some kids bouncing around or excited, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, you know, that's expected. I'm glad you're excited, but at least at this screening, I kind of wanted more engagement, and I wanted a little bit more energy, because again, that was kind of the whole point, was it's like, we're all gonna get together and have like a party, and it was a sing-along, and so, yeah. So that's where I'm at, yeah. It wasn't bad, it was just, it wasn't as good as I was expecting. I kind of wish I'd had a different crowd. People who were more... I think they were excited to be there, but their excitement showcased itself in ways I was not. I don't know. I overheard a few people, like, giggling or something. Like, the doctor guy who, you know, when he's like, I see, and his eyes get really big. The kids behind me really thought that was hilarious, and I was like, it gives me a different appreciation for that character, because like I said, I didn't really think much of him like the first time around, and that was, I think, it's like one of the clips I just skip over, because I'm like, I'm just more interested in the songs and the fight scenes, and so it was kind of fun. But yeah, some of those slower moments, it's like I had a greater appreciation for them. So anyway, all right, I've given you my thoughts, but definitely check out K-Pop Demon Hunters. It's a fabulous movie. I wish that it would be in theaters for longer, but I'll take what I can get. So, talk to you guys next time about something. Until then, keep it real, nerds. Bye.
Corinne, you wacky,
fascinating,
wacky young woman, you.
That's something we definitely all just listen to right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did it change your life?
Of course it did.
Nice. You're going to go see what she talked about, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And I never thought of things that way.
Yeah. And as a responsible host of my podcast, I was prepared and listened to it before you guys got here, so I already knew what she was going to say.
Well, you gave us the rundown.
Yeah.
You sat me and Brad down, and we talked about it before we started recording. So.
Yeah, so we're good. We're good. Thanks, Corinne, for sending it in. This is the big nerd news of the week.
It's real news!
Today seemed like there was a lot of movie announcements this week. Mortal Kombat, which I was really looking forward to, Mortal Kombat 2, was pushed to May. They said because October's overcrowded and people really loved the trailer, so they're putting it in the summer.
What were they competing against?
I have no idea. Because it's the only thing that's on my mind.
I guess Tron at the end of the month?
I guess. I mean, I guess maybe if you put it in May now that...
what are they afraid to go up against?
Is there a crossover? Like, you know what? If I had to pick one, Tron or Mortal Kombat, it's like, I'm going to watch both. But
but I think, Mortal Kombat was like the second week and Tron was the fourth. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing because it's a longer runway, because now that Avengers moved to December, there's nothing really going on in May.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But... again, next summer you're competing against another huge summer.
Yeah, so I don't know. It bums me out, but as a huge Mortal Kombat fan, I was really getting excited for October because they have a huge character encyclopedia art book coming out. The Legacy collection is coming out. I was really excited. I said, "Man, I'm getting a movie. Man, this is just a great time to be alive."
That might have been our 699th episode.
I think it was, and now I don't get it. That was a fatal blow to me.
699 is canceled. It's just gonna go 670.
Just a placeholder.
Yeah, it's just gonna be sad emoji face. Also, James Gunn announced today that Superman: Man of Tomorrow is opening in 2027.
Troma alumni James Gunn.
Yes.
And actually, on our Talkin' Troma channel, we did Hot Gun Summer, where we had a bunch of old James Gunn clips. And I actually went toe-to-toe with James Gunn back in the early days of Loveline when he was on there, and we uncovered that recording and put that up where I ask James Gunn a question, but Dr. Drew interrupts and makes it all about himself.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? That's, again, you learn from Troma how to make a film, just like a lot of big-time directors came from Roger Corman. You learn to shoot a movie, and, I mean, yeah, Superman was, a $200 million movie, but you still have to come under budget. You still have to know what you're doing. And so I'm excited. I don't know if it's just going to be Man of Tomorrow or they're still going to have Superman in front of it.
But I heard he doesn't like the colon movies, so it'll probably just be Man of Tomorrow.
I've seen his work in Tromaville. He doesn't mind a colon.
Yeah.
It's weird, but the announcement is kind of weird, right? It wasn't clear if it was going to be a Superman movie or just a movie with characters that were in Superman.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is obviously really focused on making sure DC puts out quality stuff. Because, I really like his stuff. Whether it's Slither or whatever, I think he understands what people like. His Guardians stories are actually really great. And yeah, Superman's still one of my favorite movies of the year. I think it gave you hope, and it's cool that they're continuing. It's that quick. I mean, it's like a Spider-Man turnaround. So good for them.
I did not think a Superman movie would make me cry in the theater.
I know.
But so I'm looking forward to this next.
I know,
one.
dude. You know what line got me is when he said, "Maybe that's my superpower." Talking about that he cares so much about everything. I go, oh man.
I like what James Gunn said about it. He's like, there's plenty of movies and stories where he's super, but not enough where he's just man.
Nah,
and it's like
I like that.
And I was like, it's like that's why that movie works.
Yeah, and he's such a cool director. He has all these human moments, but he still has the Mr. Terrific scene where he gives a character that I knew nothing about, really, and now he's in it. And my comic guys are saying now everybody wants Mr. Terrific comics. So I love seeing stuff like that. That's probably my phone. So that's really cool. Yeah, that's the nerd news of the week. We watch films and stuff throughout the week in a segment I call What We've Been Watching.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Zach, you're a guest. What'd you watch this week?
So, I flipped on Shudder just to see what was going on there. I'm a sucker for any movie if there's some sort of shipwreck or underwater camera that might happen. I will watch it no matter how terrible. And I saw one on there called Monster Island.
Sold.
And it's about this Japanese prisoner of war boat during World War II that gets torpedoed. And it's sort of a little bit Black Mama, White Mama. There's a Japanese soldier and an American soldier that are handcuffed together, and they wash up on this island. And it's basically Creature from the Black Lagoon made on a full moon budget. And there's blood and gore and World War II action and stuff. And it's not great, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, I feel that way about a lot of full moon. When I was growing up, I used to go to Blockbuster and rent them all the time. But I love the Subspecies series.
Oh yeah.
Demonic Toys. I like the first few of them. Puppet Master, of course.
Head of the Family.
Yeah. There's this one I haven't seen. I don't know who made it, but it's called The Granny. And there's this killer grandma.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I remember that cover very vividly.
Yes.
It was like brownish, but the granny was like chrome letters.
Yes. And I haven't. That needs to be out. Anybody listening, Shout Factory, you can put it out. I mean, how much could it possibly cost? Vestron. It might be a Vestron movie. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's that. I mean, that you sold me on it. World War II monster and violence.
You can't if you like the creature design from Creature from the Black Lagoon, but you want to see him fucking people up. That's all you need. Just sold.
Man, put that on the box. Do you like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but want to see him fuck people up? I'm telling you, that's what I like to see.
Like my kid was down when I was watching the movie, and he's trying to do some other stuff, but he just stuck around so he's like, are they going to show that monster yet? I was like, you got to wait to see the monster. And so he, stuck around until he could see the monster rip a dude's head off. He's like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then I also watched the Devo documentary that just came out on Netflix. And if you're a Devo fan, you should check it out. It felt very much like the documentary Atomic Cafe, where they told the story through a lot of archival film and stock footage, but they also have Devo narrating it, and they talk about that they're not just the guys who did Whip It, and if you think that's what they are, you'll be disappointed. So
that's cool. I love music documentaries. I get sucked into them. One of my favorite ones is The Beatles Get Back.
It's so good.
One of my favorite moments ever is, the Beatles, Paul and Ringo are complaining about John never being on time, and they're all pissed off, and they're working on a song, and John Lennon was such a genius that I always love this moment. They're playing, they're trying to figure it out. Lennon walks in, sits down, and starts playing it. He hasn't even fucking heard the song, and that's why they're just on a different level. And I always think musicians, they think on such a different wavelength.
Yeah.
Something I could never do. When I listen to someone like Elvis and Sam Cooke, and how do they know to put that emotion in their voice, and how do they know to change the pitch? It's something I do not understand.
And you see like Paul McCartney figuring out Get Back in real time.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did he just, we just saw him write, Get Back.
It blows your mind, and then you realize why these people are such geniuses. And so yeah, I'm going to put that on my watch list, because music documentaries, to me, just when you see the craft and see how I'm more of, I don't care about the drugs and alcohol. I want to see how you make the music. And I love seeing stuff like that, because they just think so differently than I do. And that's why I'm not talented.
It takes some talent to be on the mic every day, sir, for 600 some odd episodes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will expect my baggie of DVDs when I...
I have extra ones that I've replaced.
You should just have like a grab bag bucket next to the stairs for people
Is that what you're
going
to do for Halloween? Every trick-or-treater?
Should.
You just pop a
Be
movie
like,
in there?
You know what? I just got Night of the Living Dead 1990 on 4K. That one's for you. That'd actually be a sweet trick-or-treat thing.
Your mom's like, why does my kid have Night of the Living Dead on DVD?
Apparently, he had extra copies of Emmanuel in Space.
Who's a Russ Meyer?
Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS.
Ooh, I can't wait for that one. I love shitty fucking trashy movies. Sometimes they're just fun to watch.
Yeah.
So you don't have to... One of my favorite things to say is Schindler's List is an incredible fucking movie, one of the best ones ever, but I can't watch it. I watch it every 5 or 6 years, and I go, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
Yeah, but then throw in Black Gestapo every 6 months or whatever.
But you want me to watch Overlord? Sure, I'll watch Nazis get fucking killed. Yeah.
And then the new season of Dexter, been watching that. It's fun.
Is it?
And Peter Dinklage is in it.
Is he really?
Yeah.
What is he not? Is he the new Samuel L. Jackson?
It's I think they're very similar in their flippant use of motherfucker. It's actually kind of a funny season. There's a lot of weird celebrity cameos in it, like Neil Patrick Harris is in it, and it's just basically Dexter hanging out with a bunch of other serial killers, and I won't tell too much more because they unravel it as it goes. But if you want to see Dexter and hanging out with like Peter Dinklage and Neil Patrick Harris and Uma Thurman,
wow,
it's fun.
Man, that's pretty cool. Damn. So yeah, my cousin loved Dexter. I've seen the first couple seasons. But I guess I get back into it. My wife just signed up for Paramount Plus because I guess we need every streaming thing. And yeah, I think all the seasons are on that now.
Yeah, and that's the only way you can get South Park.
Oh yeah, well,
unless you have real television,
or I have a Blu-ray. I will always have them.
Well, but you can't. Well, you can't watch the new South Park.
Correct.
Paramount Plus doesn't have even all the old episodes.
I know.
You need the Bluray for that.
Yeah, like we were talking about before we started. because my kid has been watching South Park, and I've been having to watch some of them because I remember them, but I don't remember some of the jokes, so I have to make sure they're a little appropriate. I forgot they took our jibs that there's a big gay orgy at the end, and I was thinking, man, maybe this isn't good for my 10-year-old to watch.
It's so hard to say. Like my kid, he's like, I want to watch the one where they're making fun of the Prime, and it's like, no. But then it's like, seasons like 1 and 2 are pretty safe. Like we all watched the Casa Bonita episode together, and there's some good ones, but then it's like, I don't think we're gonna watch the one where the Virgin Mary statue has her period. We'll skip that one.
Well, it's funny because that's what started it. Is Brad and got us an invite to Casa Bonita, and so I took my kid there, and he saw the Cartman. I mean, he knew who they were, but he's never really watched them. And he saw the Cartman statue or whatever you want to call it. And he says, can we watch the Casa Bonita episode? I said, yeah, sure. Because I knew that one is not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, and so he fell in love with it. In fact, his birthday party was KFC, and we got a bunch of South Park stickers. If you want some, you can take some as you leave. And I put Butters on mine because Butters is my favorite.
Nice.
I know I've been on the South Park kick, too. I need a new wallet, so I ordered this Butters wallet that says reverse cowgirl, and he's sitting backwards on the toilet.
Yeah, with South Park wallet as well.
But it's been really fun rediscovering them. I recently just played the Stick of Truth all the way through again.
My God, it's so good.
Oh, such a brilliant game. I mean, my favorite episode is Faith Plus One. That's Christian rock hard. And
Token, you have a bass.
Yeah. I told you, Token, you're black. You know how to play bass. Quit. You're such a racist asshole.
It's the bass from Fat Albert.
Yeah, it's so great. And I actually just changed for a while for fantasy football, my team name, because I kept on winning. And the Kang Dynasty was coming out, so I changed it to the Frost Dynasty, and I had a picture of Kang was my logo. This year I'm the Cool Kids, but Kewl.
Q.
Yeah, the Q Kids, and it's I'm waiting to get flagged, but it's literally where Cartman has his pants down and Butters has a blindfold. He's about to put his penis in his mouth. Oh, man. I love that episode, too. And anything with Cartman where he's trying to, justify being a total piece of shit is great. So, yeah. Anyways, totally off topic. Brad, what'd you watch this week?
Quite a bit, finally.
Oh, you finally got a chance to breathe, huh?
Did you watch the Ninja Turtles?
The re-release?
Just this week, did you watch any Ninja Turtles?
Oh, yeah. I guess this week, not the past 4 days, but last week and the week before, I went to the theater 4 times.
Nice.
And then I think I watched a cartoon or something. But mostly out in theaters right now, I watched The Roses.
So is that a remake of The War of the Roses?
It is.
Huh.
And it's done so for some reason in college it was on, I don't know, Comedy Central or something.
Yeah.
And I skipped class to finish watching it because I was so into it. And I really don't remember much of it other than it was good. And then watching this, I felt like this was just completely its own thing. It didn't feel like it was copying anything that movie did. And it really it's really funny. It relies on the strength of the Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch.
Because the rest of the cast is pretty good, too.
Yeah, and I remember the old one being Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner were really hatefully at odds with each other. And this one subverts that, whereas they have their moments of very passive aggressive, I didn't like that or whatever. But then they really quickly get back into really loving each other, and then it all culminates at the end when it goes a little off the rails, and they start getting physically abusive. But so much of the movie just makes them feel like they really love each other. That whereas the old one, it felt like they were deliberately trying to be really mean to each other. And the last thing Benedict Cumberbatch does is really mean. But yeah, overall, I thought it was entertaining.
Cool.
And then I also saw the Monday Mystery movie that they have, and it starts up, and it's another one of those movies where they don't put the title card in for 10, 20 minutes. So
God damn it.
I'm starting to get the vibe of this is a romantic comedy that I'm not going to enjoy. And
but you love Fever Pitch.
He won't shut up about it.
So yeah, there's this dude, and he's trying to hook up with this girl that he hooked up with in the past. He's like really falling for, but then she doesn't want to, and she kind of gets him to go after this other girl in the bar, and then their conversation between all three of them, they strike up doing a threesome, and that's what the movie is, the threesome, and it's about this guy who the other girl is Hazel from Bottoms.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then the other girl is Zoe Deutsch, and I forget the guy's name, but yeah, so
because he's not important.
Yeah, he's important because he gets both of them pregnant, and so the rest of the movie is Zoe Deutsch's character being like, do I want to get an abortion or not? Do I like this guy, but do I I'm so don't know what I want that I don't know what to do. And then Hazel's character is pretty much like, I'm gonna have the kid and I'll do it with or without you. I'd like you to be a part of it, but it's gonna happen. And she's part of like this conservative household, so she doesn't want to tell her parents what happened, so he has to pretend to like actually be her fiance and stuff. So yeah, for like the first 30 minutes I'm like, oh god, another typical like romantic comedy movie. And then by the end, like, the dialogue is so snappy and clever, and the characters are so charming that I was like, okay, I like this.
Nice.
So
yeah, I remember seeing the trailer. It looked kind of interesting.
I haven't seen it. I have no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, the opening scene is like that guy doing like a toast at a wedding, so that's like 5 minutes, and then he's like pining over this girl at the bar in the next scene, talking to his gay bartender best friend, trying to get hooked up with the other one. I'm like,
the gay best friend.
Exactly. And so yeah, like 10-15 minutes go by, I'm just like, how's this gonna get better? And then yeah, once he has to balance, like, because also the girls start as friends, but then the Zoe Deutsch character kind of starts hating Hazel because she's taking time of his away from her, and then like the Hazel character is like so nice to her all the time that she can't stand it. You're just like, why can't you just like do this together? Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. And then the last thing I saw was at the Mayan, they did a revival of Nashville, Robert Altman's Nashville, which I hadn't seen before. And that's another movie where like for like a good 30 minutes I was like, it's just people. I know I've heard Robert Altman, that's his thing. Like all the characters, it just feels like he's doing a documentary. Like everyone's just existing. There's no defined narrative. It's just scenes of people just doing their thing, acting. And then after the 3-hour runtime, it all kind of coalesces. And all these characters that like descend on Nashville to do this like music competition or whatever. Initially they're all linking separate stories, and then they start to weave in and out of each other's stories. And there's like 10 characters that you're following throughout.
He's definitely notorious for that because Shortcuts is a lot like that.
Exactly, yeah. But the best thing was Jeff Goldblum's in it, and he plays like this weirdo character who just like drives a motor tricycle, like this big, like long front end, huge tire, 2 tires in the back, and then like a goofy outfit, and yeah, it's like he just at some point he lives in a school bus graveyard, so he's like drying his laundry on this clothesline between 2 school buses, and there's like this British lady reporter who's like doing a documentary on Nashville, and she just first another scene she wandered into like a junkyard with all these like stacked cars like Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, and then the scenes later she's in Goldblum's bus yard just like wandering around trying to like on her little recorder making up this bullshit commentary about like she's trying to find a story and she can't find one. She's just making dramatic things up about these decommissioned buses. So yeah, it's just a bunch of various scenes of all these characters kind of going to, and there's tons of music, just different songs. So it's interesting. I didn't love it, but it was just like,
I feel that about a lot of Robert Altman movies. I go, this is an interesting movie. I don't know if I like it.
I was just impressed with like how natural everyone seemed to be. Like it didn't feel like they were in a movie. It felt like someone had just like documented all this. And I guess I read that there was a script, but he basically had everyone improvise.
Huh.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then Peacemaker season 2. That's out, and I've been watching that, and that's fun. And I like where they're taking the narrative this season.
See, another reason to get physical though is they re-edited the end scene. In the first season when it came out, it was the Justice League, and Jason Momoa shows up, and now they've re-edited it, and it's the.
Did they change the first season on
Justice
streaming, or is it
game.
just because the first episode of the new season has that scene open? So is it just that changed, or did they go back and change the other one?
No, it's just that one.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
So if they ever go back, since we have the Blu-rays, we're covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's it for me.
I just so years ago, Brad started this thing where every October he tries to watch a horror film every day, and I tried to keep up with him, and I couldn't do it. So I cheat and I start a month early. So I call it spooky season. September the calendar changes. So I got
if Christmas is going to take over November, I think we got to start getting Halloween to take over September.
I agree. So I got Arrow's new 4Ks of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 and Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. I'm still a fan of those movies. I like how mean they are. I like Arlie Imrie in them a lot. I mean, Ermi. I really like. There's no apologies for it. It's it's a slasher movie. They're gritty. The beginning is a little more dark with Leatherface being born in a meatpacking plant and then thrown in the garbage. And they kept a good vibe of the weirdness of the family. This one is a little more sinister. You can't touch the original Chainsaw Massacre. It's there's just something about it that works so well. But if you're gonna remake it, make it mean.
What a weird franchise too.
Oh yeah.
Like whenever you talk of horror franchises, and there's not a more uneven franchise with a more beloved character than Leatherface.
I agree, because I can't even count how many times it's been rebooted, remade. Because you go from those ones, and then they made the brilliant idea to put Adam Marcus in charge of the remake. It's Chainsaw 3D, and the story makes absolutely no sense.
But it picks up right after the first one.
And so, but Alexandra Daddario is the baby at the beginning, but I don't know how old she is in that movie, probably 22, but it's 40 years later. And you go, wait, she's like 22.
They have cell phones, and the first one clearly says in the summer of 1970 whatever.
Yeah, and it's just bizarre. And I have this love-hate relationship with Jason Goes to Hell because I'm such a Friday the 13th completist. That I got the Arrows version of it, and it looks great. I mean, but Adam Marcus drives me crazy because whether it's Crystal Lake Memories, the book he's being interviewed, or any interview he does, he always blames the Friday the 13th fans for not getting his vision. And I go, dude, eventually it's your problem. You're the one who's writing the story. You're the one who's directing it. So you have a problem, and you're making excuses for it. Just to admit that you tried something new and it didn't work.
I love Part 9.
Really?
But its downfall is that Jason's in that movie.
Probably.
I think if it was just like a serial killer or a slasher, and then it was the same exact movie, but it was not Jason Voorhees, everybody would be like, what's a classic movie is Go to Hell.
I'd watch that movie too. It's one of my most favorite recent horror films is Drag Me to Hell.
Love that movie.
Because I love that it's literally telling you what's going to happen, and the poster gives away the ending, and when you see it, you're still shocked.
And you're like, Sam Raimi still has it in him.
Oh, yeah. Even when you see Raimi do, Multiverse of Madness, there's still the hint of him that is just so brilliant.
Even in his Wizard of Oz movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was little flourishes of Sam Raimi in there.
That's Sam Raimi's my favorite director, and I love Spider-Man. I couldn't be more perfect. And then when I saw Spider-Man 2 and Doc Ock comes to life, it's like Evil Dead in a Spider-Man movie. So yeah, brilliant stuff. And the only other thing I watched is, Scream Factory always runs these going out of print sales, and that's usually when I'll take random chances on movies I've never seen before, because you can get them for $10, $12. So I watched Of Unknown Origin, and it stars Peter Weller, RoboCop, and Shannon Tweed, a Cinemax staple when I was growing up.
Also the star of the Troma film, The Rowdy Girls.
Ooh. Is she naked in it?
Of course, it's Shannon Tweed.
So this is what I loved about Of Unknown Origin. So I have literally had no idea what it was about. I literally just bought it because it was going out of print, and the Blu-ray got a really good review on Blu-ray.com. So I said, you know what? I think it was $11. And that's worth it for a movie. And then they usually put an hour's bonus features. It's worth it to me. So I put it in, and it has just credits, and it's directed by the guy who directed Rambo, so you know it's good. And it says introducing Shannon Tweed as, her character's name was Meg, I believe. And it literally pans over.
Shut up, Meg.
Yeah. It literally pans over, and she's totally naked in the shower. I go, yes, I'm on board. So what it's about is Peter Weller is this really like Wall Street hotshot guy at a company, and he just remodeled his brownstone. And his wife and his kid go to see her parents, who are really wealthy, out of town. And, you know, she says, well, my parents will help us pay for the remodeling. He says, you know, no, I built this and it's mine. And it's really important to me that it's mine. They leave. That night he comes home and there's a rat in his house. And so the whole movie is him trying to outsmart this rat. And, I mean, the rat is like this big, so it's a little, you can't see, this is, so, I don't know, 18 inches, so it's a little bigger than a real rat.
You starting from behind the taint, or where are you measuring from?
So not including the tail. But so this rat is really smart, and it causes him problems, and, you know, but it's also exploring his mind, like, breaking down, too. So I'm watching this, and I go, man, this is better than it should be. You know, because it explores, because he built the house, but this rat is tearing it down, so as the rat is tearing the house down, his mental health is also going down until it culminates with at the end with, you know, the final battle. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's a really fascinating character study, and that it's on Scream Factory. I mean, I guess it's kind of horror because the rat is, I wouldn't say monstrous, but it's bigger than, and you know, they really don't show the rat too much, but it's just a really fascinating movie, and I was pleasantly surprised watching it. You know, that's why you never know when you watch a film. It's, I think Willard is better with Crispin Glover, but, you know, this one's not bad.
And I'm picturing the pitch to Shannon Tweed of like, look, we'd like to have you in this movie about Peter Weller chasing this rat. Okay, that sounds great. So I'm probably not going to get my clothes off, right? Well, we would like you to get your clothes off for this Peter Weller chasing a rat movie.
Because she also has a scene, too, where she's swimming and she gets out of the pool and it's totally see-through. I go, wow. 80s at its best right there.
I want to watch that and do a double feature with Mouse Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that sounds like a good time.
You should. Yeah, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. And the bonus features have great interviews. I always love interviews where people just don't give a fuck. My favorite, I have two favorite interviews from Scream Factory. One is Jamie Lee Curtis on The Fog, because she says, this movie was a piece of shit, but I like John Carpenter, so I decided to do it. And I get people like it. You know, there's monsters. And she was really funny in it. And my absolute favorite one is Corey Feldman on Bordello of Blood, where he just says, yeah, Sylvester Stallone was a fucking dick. He's dating Angie Everhart. She doesn't know how to act, and she's a bitch. He just carpet bags everybody. I go, fuck yes. Because Corey Feldman was abused when he was a kid in Hollywood. So I love that he's just, you know what? Fuck these people. And he didn't give two shits. It's one of the ones we see, oh, that's where they say they don't, you know, necessarily believe in their views and opinions.
And Corey Feldman, let's not forget, was in Citizen Toxie.
That's right.
As Kinky Finkelstein, the gynecologist.
It's funny. I don't know why. So sometimes at my feed on Facebook, one of my friends has liked Colorado Singles or something, because I keep on getting Colorado Singles on my Facebook feed. And it's a suggested post. I go, what the fuck is this? But for a while, I was getting Corey Feldman and his band. And I don't know why I was getting them. And then I'd watch them, so then I just get them more, because I go, man, he's just trying to be Michael Jackson.
When he was coming through Colorado, like, me and one of my buddies was like, oh, we gotta go. And then when it was getting closer, we're like, we're really not gonna go there, are we?
Same vibe. Little different. I was at a used bookstore and it had his autobiography, but it's called Choreography. And I said, man, I should totally get this. and I pulled it out as used as $3.95. Do I want to? I put it back.
But I ran into him at Sundance one year when I was there with Trauma, and he had a huge entourage around him, and I was like, "Kiki Finkelstein, I love you," and he turned around and he gave me a thumbs up, and then someone in his entourage was like, "Hey, leave Corey alone."
Yes.
I was like,
okay. Who are you? I'm the guy who tells you to leave Corey alone.
It's like. Yeah, it was just like it was like the turtle of his crew if it was HBO's.
So is Corey Feldman still considered a star? I'm putting it out there. I don't know.
I think he's transcended star and he's Corey Feldman.
Yes, he's just his own thing.
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
Like it's like we got a big celebrity, and you would not be disappointed if you went and the surprise celebrity was Corey Feldman. You'd be like, hell yeah, he's in the fucking Goonies.
Yeah. Friday 13th Part 4.
Voice of Donatello.
I mean, he was a part of our childhood.
Yeah, and now we're still talking about him. It's Corey Feldman. He's transcended celebrity.
It's Corey's world. We just live in it.
Yeah.
You know, what I should do is I used to do watch everybody's filmography, so I'd pick an actor and I'd watch it. Maybe I'll do Corey Feldman because
that'd get really weird. Like you'd be like, all right, during License to Drive, you're like, I'm digging this, and then like the 90s happen, you're like, ooh, okay.
But when I was growing up, I loved License to Drive. That was one of my most favorite 80s teen comedies. But I haven't seen it in a long time. I wonder if it's still good.
It's still fun.
Is it? Sweet.
Yeah. I mean, you got both Coreys.
Can you go wrong?
No.
That's what I like to hear. Zach, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of Real Nerds Podcast.
Heck yeah.
Your insight was awesome. Next week, Brad, are we seeing Caught Stealing or The Conjuring?
Either one. Up to you.
I feel like The Conjuring. But I heard Caught Stealing's not bad. Maybe I'll see them both.
Yeah, I'm going to see it anyway. So
stay tuned for that. Zach, why don't you tell everybody where we can find you? This is a time for you to promote you.
Well, as far as plugs go, I wear a size 14. So you can follow the show at Talkin' Trauma on all the socials. The website, talkintrauma.com, has all of our episodes on there. And check out our YouTube. We just are going through the archives of Traumaville and posting weird stuff. And our most latest episode of the show is an interview with Macon Blair. So watch the movie and then come listen to Macon Blair talk about making the film.
That's awesome. Thanks for being on here.
And you can see him in his next film role in the Last Night at the Esquire movie.
Yeah, whenever I gotta grow my hair back out for that. No one will know. No one will know.
Yeah, I'll do a time jump.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Well, a real nerd knows who shot. A real nerd can follow the plot. And a real nerd will give it all they got. Lights, camera, action.
Thanks for listening to Real Nerds Podcast, a Nebulous Visions production. Stream or download episodes, read articles at realnerdspodcast.com. Stream us on Apple or Google Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Follow us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. Twitter and Instagram at Real Nerds. Watch us on YouTube, Real Nerds Podcast. Email us at realnerds@gmail.com. Call us at 720-6nerds5. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill, Mike at Plan 9 Studios, and Bolognium for all of our groovy theme songs. And that's how you fucking do it.